What were your thoughts on the night? It was a pretty entertaining night from start to finish.
It really was. I mean, I think that Aaron Pico erased his, we'll call it the mulligan he had in. I mean, I don't think his opponent would say that, but he had the mulligan in New York. But I mean, you can see the hand speed and the combinations that guy was throwing. It's pretty impressive, and the wrestling is good. He has to work on a couple of things, but I think it was an example of what you'll see ahead for Aaron Pico.
Very nice. Main event, obviously a big win for Patricky there. He's making calls to the champ right away.
Okay.
I mean, I know there's a lot of options there in that division, but but what are your initial thoughts? I mean, has he done enough to warrant a look there at the title shot, or do you still feel like a Chandler rematch is the right play?
I mean, we've been waiting for Chandler to fight Primus again, and we've been waiting for Primus because, like I think I told you guys earlier, his wife was having a baby, and we were very respectful of that, and so we're waiting for him, and when he's ready to reengage, I think Chandler should be the first fight.
Is there an approximate date that he should be back and ready to go?
I think he said he'll be ready to go in the beginning of the year sometime, so we should have something shortly, but I think it's going to be sometime in maybe February, March, maybe something like that.
Paul Daly, I mean, the guy, you're familiar with him, of course, for a long time, but I looked great tonight. What'd you think?
He's a dangerous guy, man. I mean, I watched one of my most favorite fights of all time was the Diaz-Daly fight, and I just watched that the other day again, and I said, wow, that was spectacular. And Paul, I thought he knocked out Nick twice, and then Nick knocked him out twice. It was one of those fights, right? And that's why you love a guy like Paul, because on any given night he could really beat anybody. And he caught Lorenz with that spinning back fist. I think it hurt him, and he fished him off with the left hook. Those guys really, had the heat. I mean, Lorenz already texted me saying, "Hey man, whatever I got to do to get a rematch, like, I'll fight this guy, that guy, but I want Paul Daly. And so there's a lot of heat on that. And I think that you saw it yesterday at the weigh-ins, but today they got it on, and Paul was a better man tonight.
Has the commission said anything to you, Scott, about the events at the weigh-in?
No, they have not, but I'm sure Andy will at some point. But it's just a matter of time.
But given that they comported themselves well today, and that that there was no issue afterwards, obviously there was a clear. Do you see he might look lightly on it, given that no punches landed?
Yeah, I mean, Friday, it was basically a push, right? And so that's what happened, and we didn't want it to escalate, and I think that it could have, and I think that we handled it, as keeping him apart in the back and keeping him apart in the hotel room, and we told Paul Daly, do not, run into this guy in the elevator or stay in your room and go to sleep, so he said, okay. I mean, after they calmed down, they both got it. I texted Lorenz, I said, come on, let's keep this professional. You guys could have got hurt, and then the fight's off, and no one gets paid. Everybody gets paid tomorrow night, not today.
Apparently, they even spoke in the locker room tonight, and Lorenz kind of was like, "Hey, just put it past us, quality." So, Daly mentioned obviously he's got his heart set on like Lima or McDonald, those big fights. But the MVP fight's the one the fans keep talking about. Is it time for that fight?
I mean, MVP's going to box in October, and then we're going to sit down with both of them. But I think we make that fight happen in London sometime in the first quarter.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. That's going to be a great fight. That's going to be a big, big fight there in the UK.
Give us the update at heavyweight. Now, Roy Nelson was victorious. Showed kind of a well-rounded approach. Javier was good. But what is the situation at heavyweight? I mean, that's no champion in that division. Give us an idea of what comes next.
We're working on a couple things, and I wanted to see how this fight played out. There's maybe, basically we didn't create a heavyweight champion for 3 years because we've been waiting to build a division. And I think we're almost there. I'd like to add a couple more pieces, and then we can do something, to start, getting to the heavyweight champ. But, I think that I'm feeling pretty good about where this is all heading.
So, are you looking at developing prospects in the heavyweight division, or bringing out some free agents? What's the scope of the heavyweight division within the next year?
I mean, you see a guy I like him out of nowhere, knocking out Karatanov, having a tough fight with Roy. This guy can fight anybody on any given day, and he's a guy that already had, he was already kind of a veteran in a way, and man, he's exciting to watch, and I think that if he just keeps going at it, I think that he's going to become, something that will, maybe get to that point where he could fight a guy like Roy again, or he could fight Mitrione, and but I think that we've been buying our free agents right now. Mitrione came off from free agency. Fedor was somebody that didn't come from inside Bellator. And then Roy. So we've been buying free agents, and we're going to keep buying them as they become available.
You keep talking about like building something towards the heavyweight. I mean, are you talking about maybe a tournament, maybe a Grand Prix, or is it just a series of fights that like #1 contender fights? I mean, what do you feel?
I mean, really, it's like I got to get together with Spike and throw some ideas at him. But we do a lot of fun stuff over here, and I think this could be something that'd be really cool when we do it, because we've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and I said, look, this is going to be one of the crown jewels of this company, and you don't want to just throw a fight just to have two guys fight and say this is your heavyweight champion. Let's make it really have some relevance and build up a couple guys and sign a couple guys, and I think we're heading in the right path to make it something really fun.
Last fight in the main card, Yamauchi. I mean, do you feel like maybe, a young guy with already an incredible career record, I mean, do you feel like that's maybe a future star for you?
Yeah, I think that he's talented. I mean, that kid, I've never seen that kid, in a boring fight. I mean, he comes and he wraps it on you and tries to, take it to you. And Josh Thompson told me tonight, he goes, you know what? I go, who's going to win between Yamaguchi and Piccolotti? He said, there's no way Piccolotti gets submitted by this guy. I said, really? He goes, Coker, there's no way. And I said, okay, because I think Yamaguchi's jiu-jitsu is pretty amazing, right? And Piccolotti is too. And so when he submitted him, I said, hey, Thompson, what's up? He's like, oh, I didn't know. I thought they could do it. But,
I think he picked McGregor over Mayweather, too, if I remember right. So he's not doing great.
You trust it?
Yeah.
He's 0-2. He's 0-2. But, I think that, he's a guy that throws himself right in that 155-pound weight class. He's the kind of guy, if he gets on you, man, you're going to have a hard time. I don't care who you are. He's got that world-class jiu-jitsu.
Anytime we get in front of you, we always got to see if you got any news in the back pocket. Any business get done tonight while you're milling around?
Absolutely. I can't tell you guys, though. No, but listen, it's always fun to come back to San Jose, and it's always, the Bay Area. They know the fight game. They know when the fights are great, and if there's not, they'll let you know. You hear it tonight. There's a very low tolerance for inactivity.
They Larkin in the first round.
Yeah, exactly.
They were being cagey.
They're so spoiled because they had the Pico fight, and then they had Yeah, so it's like they were spoiled a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's the martial arts community here, even before I started promoting, has always been something that it's quite sizable. And when I started promoting in the 80s, it was that community that really supported us, and they're still here. I ran into my martial arts teacher here today, and friends that I haven't seen for a long time, and they're out there and they're still doing it and bringing their students, and it's a great place to come watch fights.
Is there any news about Justin Lin, it was a terrible knockout, of course, and he wasn't well for several minutes in the cage?
Yes.
Is there any news about him from hospital?
Yeah, on my way over here, I asked our ops guys how's he doing, and they said he's doing much better. So I'll try to get you guys through Danny or Ryan to get you a real-time update, but I think that he'll be okay.